Hello, this is Richard Anthony Marca, and this is the individual update for sprints 5 through 6 for the Gemo project. And I will show you the breakdown of labor that I performed on. So as you can see, the breakdown of labor, I have 5 main tasks that I work on, which was the improvement of the Gemo splash screen. So instead of having a fake splash screen that just pops up before the app starts up, and now it's actually not only does it have a real splash screen that replaces the Flutter logo, but it also has a little application inside the IDE. I will show that off in the demonstration. Also created a trending topics and other categories section with a small algorithm to have the top 3 topics to be displayed. Originally, it was made with colors, but it didn't look very good. So now it's actually going to be using pictures, which is issue 28 down here. Also created more category screens and have it have more utility, which kind of also goes with the before. And then Dr. Gresham gave us a very good observation about someone could just artificially raise the trending topics. So now we actually have a category click resetter that goes into Firestore. So after a certain amount of time, for us it's 24 hours, all the clicks in all the categories will be set to 0. So I've already talked about replacing the colors with images from issue 16 to 38. And then I have code optimization, which I just refactored the code to reduce depreciated likeliness and improve functionality. Just a lot of the blue line errors that a lot of people ignore. I feel like it does help the project out. Giving us a grand total of 18 story points, both assigned and completed, and 1,700 minutes. So if I go here, I will show you the new features. You're going to see the little Gemo actually have application. So the Flutter app is no longer there. It is actually Gemo. And eventually, once this runs, you're going to see Yep, there you go. The splash screen's right there. Instead of Flutter, it's actually Gemo. God, since I already initialized this, it's easier. So yeah. So I'm going to sign into email. I'm going to just use my email. So Richard. And then enter my password. Don't want to show my password. And then I will sign in. Oh, I was wondering, why didn't this work? Well, that's because I'm not using the correct email. See, you can't use Gmail in this app. So if I replace that with Cal Baptist .edu, sign in. Now we can chat. And now, as you can see with this newest update, there is no new chat, new video chat. It's all chat. So finding your match, I would need another phone to do that, which I can do, and I will show that in a bit. But I want to show off the part that I worked on the most was the browse categories. So if you look here, we have Paul's contribution of the tutors down here, which I will not really show off right now. But we also have the majors, all have each of their little emblems. So I liked these emblems the most. So chemical engineering, even more, bioengineering, electrical engineering, calculus. Here's the trending with little ribbons, first, second, third. These don't really move because there's only 3 of them. Here are interests that are here too. So these are like the default categories. And I believe I did click calculus yesterday testing this out, so that's probably why it hasn't updated. But let's just say I want to click on gaming. I try to match in gaming. I'm probably not going to find one because I don't have another person going into gaming. But if I go back, click it again just to get a little bit more. It's not going to update immediately, but the next time you go into categories, gaming is now in second, and music is now in third. Let's just say, wow, I really like computer science. Back, and let's do it again. There you go. Apparently, I had like 20 things on music. So I was wondering, like, why is that so much? I forgot that these are from yesterday as well. So music was clicked like 10 times. I have to click movies. But as you can see, if I actually go onto the Flutter store, I'll just show you a little bit of a snippet right here. See how gaming wasn't just at 2, it was actually at 10 now. And if I find music, calculus is at 13, so I could have been clicking gaming a little bit more to get to calculus, but it hasn't hit the reset time yet. Now, if I go to movies is at 10, computer science is at 3, which is why when I was clicking it only 3 times, it didn't really update because, well, music is so much ahead. So once I find it, physics is at 3, sports is at 8. So sports was actually ahead of computer science. Music is at 9. So as you can see, just because I clicked on computer science 3 times doesn't make music, doesn't replace music because music was clicked 9 times in the last 24 hours. Should be reset back to the basics. And the basic 3 are going to be music, gaming, and movies because that's what it always has on the top. Just goes in the order of that. So that's the functionality here. Also, we added the background so it looks nicer. And that is it for the newest updates. And I will go over to code in GitHub. And here are the branches. So if we actually go to my branches, the 2 branches that I mostly worked on was, this was a long time ago. We don't have to worry about app navigation or user matchmaking. But categories, automatic reset, and code optimization, as well as test, which is actually our final version of how we're going to be submitting this. If I go under categories, you're going to see, let's go under last commits, because this is when we merged testing, which we originally had, which we're no longer using. We're using test instead of testing. These were the final updates. So this also has a bare bones version of the categories inside. So as you can see here, in this update, which is from Sprint 5, instead of having images, we had colors. So I chose like colors for each one. And as you can see, that could get tedious. And it also doesn't look very good. Also had the heap search dart in here, which we actually got rid of because we kind of have it more in a separate file, I believe. We'll check on that later. Categories, await future delayed. So this is a little bit of a delay to kind of get it to refresh better, because sometimes it's just like kind of flash into like a different one, but it's looked nicer like this. This is for the display name, and that there's only one of those. If I go down here, added a sized box above the trending categories. So I basically separated those. And trending categories could either be under, we have two categories for that actually. We have interests, or we call it categories, but the categories is interests and majors because sports, music, movies, gaming, health, those are more of interests, while electrical engineering, calculus, chemistry, computer science, those are majors. So for more academic people, they choose this section for like most of the tutoring stuff goes through major instead of interest because you don't really need a tutor for music unless you're a music major, which you could, but like physics would be something for is active. So these are active, and well, at least for the old one that was under is active, but the clicks were all 0. Instead of using prints, we use logger because it looks nicer and it adds an extra import on the top. Should have It has the logging import. And in main, we actually changed. Originally, we had the splash screen. So like the initial route was to splash screen, but we actually got rid of that since it wasn't a real splash screen. So now the initial route is the sign in screen. If I go back, instead of categories, there should be automatic reset. This had the removing the splash screen with the actual splash screen stuff, updated the splash screen into iOS. These two were two classes that were kind of like practices for the automatic reset. So reset clicks, click resetter, those were kind of, I didn't really mean to make those. They kind of made themselves. So those actually get deleted in the latest update in testing, but it's actually under functions where we have the stuff for it. So if I go into here, these are the things to reset the categories. So for every 24 hours, so it's a 24-hour schedule. And the categories and categories collection. So it doesn't mess with the other collections because we do have things like chats, reports, rooms, and users. So we don't want to have those reset, at least with this function. This is just from the basic starter code, the basic code that they gave us. So it's all commented out. And then for each of the docs, it resets the clicks to 0. And then it will eventually just either have a log that says successfully reset the category clicks to 0 or error resetting category clicks. And then this is other stuff for that. So yeah, these reset clicks kind of like the same thing. So that's why we get rid of those at the end. Library. This one had some changes under screen services and main. So this here we added something called image upload. So it actually uploads these assets in images. So in the assets folder, we actually have images, and these are for all of the topics, whether the interest or the majors. And these are the image paths. Try to put these into Firestore. And I accidentally made a mistake on this version, which I actually do fix in our final, which I accidentally mixed up login and logger. So this one uses the wrong log package. So now it no longer uses this because this just adds extra stuff that we don't need. The other one's just much nicer. And then more screen path. So string for the image path to make sure we upload images into categories. Collection name and image path. So this way it actually, because you can't really just send images into Firestore, you actually have to do something like this in order to send things there. And this stuff gets changed from that to the actual logger from logging. So I'll show that a bit later. This is the video stream stuff that Parker created. Some screens. So the category screens, if I actually go under here now, you're going to see instead of having colors and the hex codes, now it's image and the path of the image. And here's the update category clicks, trending categories fleshed out. And instead of having just the color of gold, silver, and bronze, it has the PNGs of the metals. And this is if there's an error fetching the trending categories. This is if it's matching. This is to help like with matching context. It's also resized a lot of the stuff because it looked funky originally, and now it's more centered. And if you saw on the demonstration, originally we had the category titles inside, and it just did not look good like that. And sometimes it was hard to read if it was a darker color. So now we have it on the bottom with a smaller font size and made sure it did not get overloaded, because one of the issues I was having early on with that was that it kept going out of bounds and just having a big old error block because it was too large. And this helped add the home screen to the background. So it's not just a white screen. It actually has the home screen there. This is more Google font stuff, if it has the data or not. So this actually gets the data in and out from the Firestore. This is the trending, the interests, and the majors, all part of categories. And here is for trending. The space evenly to evenly space the items because they were sometimes like really bunched together, but this helped get rid of that issue. And this is the assets image is default PNG. So if it can't load something up, it loads the default PNG, which is just a blank white PNG. So if we needed a placeholder, so that's kind of like a fallback point. Then we go to category tile. This is a stateless widget to just have everything spaced out better. So this adds spacing between the image and the title, the black colors, we have the trending actually have a larger font than the non-trending stuff. So the non-trending is a size 10 font, while the trending categories have a size 14. And trending is actually in bold versus the non-trending, which is not in bold. Go back to screens. That one had a lot of changes. A lot of these changes were from merging and like pulling from my teammates. So some of these aren't really like, for example, this is from Grace's stuff. So this isn't really changes I made, but changes she made that I pulled. And then sign in screen. Similarly, this is like more pull stuff. But now let's get to like one of the more finalized version, which is test. Now this has most of the stuff in. So we have the category screen, which is this is the updated version of it. Where, as you can see, unlike the previous one where not all of them have as is active, they are all active. All the clicks are 0. If we go down, loggers are still in there. This is image null, so this is actually a better placeholder for the image. Here is the images for the gold, silver, and bronze metal. This is to help start matchmaking and join a video room, which Parker helped me with this one. Well, he implemented his changes into this. This is for when it gets pressed, if matchmaking. This is for more matchmaking stuff that was what Parker did. Trending, interest, and majors, which unlike interest and majors, trending actually uses a snapshot of the data, while the others are just lists. This is more things, and they're actually itemized better. So instead of having like longer things like the older ones, it's just item display name, item image. And we also added some arrows. Let's find a match for you. This is for the tutor, because this is under the build tutor matchbox widget. Category titles. So this category tile. So this is not much has changed here. So that's basically the same. Go back to screen. We have a combined chat screen now. And mainly what I did here is refactory changes. So like I added the logging import. So instead of using print, we use the logger, which you'll see all the way down. Yeah, it shouldn't be that far down. There it is. So instead of seeing print, it uses logger. So we have one here and one on line 90, which is here. Just makes having images easier to use. Meeting ID, toggle chat. I also did, I believe, was it this one or a different one where I changed it from a container to a sized box? I believe it was this. It was really a container, but it looked like sized box would be better. Menu screen. Again, logging is one of the things I added. So that's basically to replace print. I usually have a amount in front of the context, but because this is a state list widget, you don't really need that. So there is a little blue error, but it's not that big of a deal. And stuff that's this one. This one, I don't think I made much changes to this one either, except maybe a mounting. Yep, I added the mounted to this to make sure that it actually reaches that. And then, so that one's not really that big of a deal. This one I added, I don't think I added, this one had like this one was missing the super key, which was odd. So I added that in there. And this one was, um, for some reason it had like things where everything was private. So I made it public so it reaches it better. And then there should be like another mounted down here. The if mounted for the context stuff. The like if mounted. Oops, I don't need to highlight all that. Just the if mounted, so. And that's it for that one, I'm pretty sure. With the changes I made. That was the code optimization that I did for this, and yeah. The rest were like really, really long ago, so I didn't really have to worry about that. But if we actually go under Android, app, source, main, res, now if we go into here, you're going to see this thing called splash.png. You click on that, and it's the Gemo PNG. It's a giant one, but yeah. And each one of these this one has the background PNG, so that's there. If I go to iOS, runner, oh, oops, wrong runner. Runner assets. There should be, it uses the Gemo PNG for iOS. So if we use the iOS version, it actually opens with Gemo, not with the Flutter basic stuff. I believe that is it. And if we actually just go to branches, view all branches to make sure, click this. This has a lot of commits because I sometimes I forget one or two things and I commit it. So actually, to make things easier, let's do this. The 21st, I had 3. On the 20th, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the 17th, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 15th, I had 2. 14th, I had 1. Oops, I kind of messed that up. At this capital A, capital T, not big deal. An algorithm for trending. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that I added. Those are a little old, but yes. And that's for test. I even added stuff to production, but we turns out we're not going to be using production. So that's why I'm not really showing that. Under categories, this is older, so there's the pictures, the merge branch, the final updates, algorithm is functional. Some of those are from Grace, like merging stuff. And if I go under, where is the automatic reset? There we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, several more. And that is it for this one. And that should be the end of this video. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you on the final presentation.